clear air. I feel like I'm back in my house in the woods. I can feel the wind tossing my hair. Yeah, I can recognise to whom this once belonged. I hear laughter and the singing of the forest folk. Do you wish to learn the story of the Cypress Queen? Sad old horses neigh and stomp their hoofs. They cannot wait to travel distant lands, searching for the legendary treasure of an ancient empire. I can feel the bravery of the previous owner, how she dreamt of adventure and fame. Do you wish to know where her path led? I certainly do. Then listen, and I shall recount to you the story of the search for the gemstone cave. The first one. I hear the noise of the capital, merchants shouting, horses neighing, soldiers' armour clanking. But this is all from far away, from beyond the tall walls of the palace garden. The noise is barely audible through the lush vegetation, but here, in the cool stillness, I can hear two lovers whisper beneath the shadow of an ancient cypress tree. I'm not one of them. I'm just a frail cypress twig. Those two cannot be together. She is a queen, and he is a loyal knight, perhaps too loyal, but their love could not be kept secret for long. The king ordered the knight executed, but the knight managed to slip away to the wilderness of the narrow marshes and the stolen lands. He hid there, away from civilization with only animals and birds to keep him company. To remember his lost home, he brought a cypress twig with him and planted it in front of his hut. The tree took roots, and the knight spent long hours talking to the cypress, imagining it was the queen. And one day, I answered. Since ancient times, these lands had been home to the Fae, so it's little surprise that a dryad would be born within the tree. We became friends. He told me of his homeland and his beloved queen, and the merry life at court, the celebrations, parades, tournaments. I wanted so badly to see him with my own eyes. Why couldn't he go see the city? You know not. Dryads are bounded to the tree. Oh. You cannot stray away from them, and even if they could, our kind tends not to get favourable reactions from humans. They find us too strange, too alien. I doubt that I've been warmly received in the city. Fall in love? Of course not. The fairy thought it's shameful. The knight remained faithful to his true love till the end of his days. As for me, well, I was born from a twig of a cypress under which the knight and the queen's love story began. I like to think I was a child of their love, in a way. I never told him directly, but I always considered the knight to be like a father. Aww. So I decided I wanted to be queen myself, and why not? After all, the Green Mother gave me my fair share of beauty and magic, and the knight taught me all about how to rule a country. I organised a celebration. All the local fae were invited. I had no idea where there were so many of the kin in the neighbourhood. Everyone came. Shy nymphs, merry satyrs with their reed pipes, tender nixies, leprechauns with their fancy buckled hats and shiny boots. The celebration lasted 3 days, and my guests enjoyed it so much that every one of them proclaimed to me their queen at the end. I wasn't establishing prisons or taxes or other nasty things common in human courts, but the social life of my court was vibrant enough to make any human monarch jealous. So what kind of functions do the Fae Court conduct? We do all kinds of amazing things. Sometimes I hosted dances that went all night, or held tournaments in which satyrs would entertain the audience, kicking each other for the right to kiss me. There were even parades organised for the local animals. Just imagine. Deer, boars and bears all marching in lines, even those fae who initially didn't like the idea of a kingdom were happy with things. I think we may be the only kingdom in the world built without a single drop of blood spilled, built on a foundation of joy and happiness. So your kingdom wasn't real, it was basically just a game. What an odd suggestion. How about your country? Is it real? Or just a game to be complicated rules and high stakes? Our kingdom was real as we are. Life in the woods changed a lot over time, and the night changed too. After spending too much time around Fae and meditating alone in nature, he became more righteous, religious, and built a shrine to Esteril with his own hands. Rumours spread across the area of some hermit or saint living in the swamps. Though to be frank, there wasn't anything saintly about him, as far as I could tell, but people started coming to meet him, and over time, a small village grew around the shrine, built by people in search of a new life. As word spread of our kingdom in the woods, some people were surprised, while some just smiled unknowingly. After all, the idea of a kingdom was familiar to humans, so Fae living in a kingdom made them seem less alien, less strange and scary. So we began living side by side in peace. Sometimes Fae would visit humans just to share a cup of tea, and sometimes there were even unions that resulted in children, human children, with some of the magic of the Fae. Some of these children deserved their own legends, but those are other stories for another time. Human monarchs are quite different from their subjects. They have eyes everywhere. Their arms are long and their memories longer. And the village grew. News of the location of a disgraced knight made its way to the king. Eventually, a small but heavily armed group of king's men arrived in the village, demanding the hermit knight leave with them immediately. The villagers, both human and Fae, were ready to fight to defend him. But the knight followed his unwelcome guest voluntarily. He said he wanted to avoid bloodshed, and he was old and longed to see his homeland and his beloved queen once again, even if it ended with his execution. So the knight was taken away. Everyone grieved for him, myself especially. But as time passed, the pains subsided, as it tends to. Both the village and the Fae kingdom happily lived in peace for many years. What happened to the village? If your wonder is strong enough, you could visit the Nile matches yourself and ask the locals. I suspect someone there would know what happened next, but this story was about how the Fae kingdom was established. And that story is over. What happened to the knight? I know not. The story was not about him. The Dryad never saw him again. Perhaps he slipped away from his guards and accomplished a slew of heroic deeds afterwards. Or perhaps his captors executed him on the first day, simply taking the king his head, probably. Or maybe he died on the executioner's block. But in the city of his youth, gazing once more upon his queen, older now, but as beautiful as ever. Or maybe the city had changed beyond recognition. His queen has died years ago, and he realised too late that his true home was a village built in the swamps. Or maybe the king saw that the pious old man standing before him shared nothing in common with the bold young upstart he had impinged his honour so long before, and thus pardoned him. Alas, we have no way of knowing what really happened. Time spared not even the kingdom where the story started. So your guess here is as good as mine. Okay. There we go. Tell me about the gemstone cave. I hear shoes clattering, wheels creaking. I smell the smoke of campfires. Wind kisses my face gently, and rain washes it with tears from the sky. We are on a road, heading north. We are on our way to the no man's land beyond the edge of the map, which promises a home to those who do not shy away from adventure. These lands are where we find our freedom and prosperity. I'm Jackson Tristan from Tamblanc Plains, the heart of the great Taldan Empire. My family is old but not rich. My inheritance as the youngest daughter barely covered the horses, cart and supplies for the trip. But who cares? My real inheritance was a sharp mind and strong hands ready to work hard. My children will know riches that my ancestors could hardly dream of. 1,000 years ago, on the Emperor's orders, the Fifth Army of Exploration mapped the region around the Great Selin River. Endless miles of plains, hills, woods and swamps. My ancestor served in this army, and his diary mentions a particular cave filled with wonderful gemstones. Floor to ceiling, The army turned back, leaving the gems unclaimed for centuries. Now they'll be mine. Onward. Why did the army leave the gems? It's a real mystery, and my ancestors spared no words describing the beauty and riches of the cave, even described how to find it. But he didn't explain why the army had left such treasures behind. Maybe that part of the diary was lost. Well, even more interesting then, maybe we'll get to shed some light on this ancient mystery. Oh, what will you do when you find the mine? Isn't it obvious? I claim the land where the cave is located on my own property and a part of the Taldan Empire. Then if anyone tries to take it from me, they'll have to deal with not just me, but the Imperial Army as well. Why do you think the gems are still here 1,000 years later? Of course, so much time has passed, a lot could have changed. But there are still no big cities in those wildlands to this day. If someone were mining gemstones there, I think we have heard about it by now. We reached the area described in my ancestors' diary. The locals from the tiny villages scattered in the area call these regions the Cam Lands. It is a strange, eerie place. What we ordinarily took for hills as we passed through turned out to be ancient mounds, where you might find the buried bones of unbelievably ancient creatures, older even than Earthfall. The Gemstones Cave must be around here somewhere. After a long and difficult search, fortune finally smiled on us, albeit a wry, cunning smile. Among the hulls, we caught a bunch of kobolds, all dressed up like nobles at some celebration. Their filthy, scaly bodies were decorated with shining gemstones, and their leader proudly wore an ancient Taldan knee pad on his head. Their interrogation didn't take long. After decapitating one of them, the others almost fell over themselves to tell us where they found their ornaments. Well, they're pleasant people, aren't they? The cave proved to be more glorious than I imagined as I read my ancestors' diary. It was a huge hall, shining with gems of all colour and hues. We didn't have any problem evicting the kobolds once we killed half their tribe. The other half just fled. Apparently, wanting the last word, an old kobold, their chieftain, maybe, or a shaman, shook his tiny fist at us and yelled a curse. I just laughed and threw a torch at him, and he disappeared. I had won the gems of the 5th Army were mine. What did he yell? He yelled that they would go, but that we would stay forever. What a curse. Oh no, I was already going to claim this land anyway. Did you try exploring the mounds? We did. My best scouts noted an obviously artificial entrance into one of the mounds. He and a small team went in to explore it. Several hours later, a dense smoke rushed out of the mound. It began to rumble and then exploded. All that remained was a smouldering crater. We didn't risk fooling around with ancient legendaries after that, and later we had enough of our own trouble to worry about. Inside we found ancient girders supporting the walls and rusty tools scattered around. There were also graves, several of which had been opened by the kobolds, with pieces of ancient Talban armour in them. It seems some ancient people had been mining gems here after all. Unfortunately, we had no way to find out what happened to them, so I declared the mine my property and began our own work. A small town quickly grew up around the mine. First it was just locals, then people started travelling from afar. Miners, bards, brewers, priests, and of course traders of all kinds. Taldor sent a squad of soldiers to guard the new Imperial mine and trade routes as well. My lands prospered. Too bad it didn't last long. It took us less than a year to discover what happened to the mine's previous owner and why it was abandoned. Why did you exhume remains? We reburied them honourably. They became the first residents of our small new cemetery, which we had to expand considerably not long after. Things were going great, but the rumour of an epidemic started spreading through the town. I did my best to reassure the locals, though by that time I knew better than anyone that grey stains on the skin along with nosebleeds, was essentially a death sentence. The mine's previous owners didn't just leave, they died from ash leprosy. We were infected when we explored the graves. The best clerics and healers our money could buy all say the same thing. The disease was incurable. Nope, leprosy is not curable, unfortunately. So does that mean I'm going to get leprosy because I took that thing? Bloody hope not. I still held hope that I had brought enough time we could find a cure, but news of the epidemic reached the Imperial Army. They were ordered to quarantine the entire area, and our guardians became our jailers overnight. The settlement was sealed off by a triple cordon of guards. We continued mining gemstones like before, but the traders took advantage of our situation and raised their prices. People were dying, but the town lived on as the Empire kept sending a new workforce for us, branded criminals. Thanks to the efforts of our healers, I lived longer than many others, but soon I didn't even dare leave my house. It seemed not a single person in the settlement didn't wish me dead. I died alone, slowly rotting alive, surrounded by treasure beyond measure. A leper queen of a doomed kingdom. My last thought was how funny the cobalt curse had seemed, and how quickly it had come true, yeah. Could it cause a new epidemic along my subjects? No, worry not. Ash leprosy may have been incurable in Jackie's time, but the Taldans eradicated it completely centuries ago. Besides, it's impossible for any trace remains of the leprosarium that surrounded the mine too long ago. What happened to the city? The mine was inherited by her family. The colony of lepers continued mining gemstone for many years until the mine was depleted. Once the mine was gone, the town slowly died out. Once the last leper had died, the Empire sent a group of clerics and wizards to the site, and they used prayers and spells to reduce the infected town to safe ashes and collapse the entrance to the depleted mine. 1,500 years have passed since then. No one remembers a colony existed there anymore. As for the mine, it can probably still be found in the Camlands, but there are no longer any treasures there to claim. Right, cool. Okay, so shards of the ring of wretched colours. It would seem that's how the bear. Lucky Lady Luck favoured the ring's previous owners for quite some time, but when she finally turned her back on him, the consequences were quite grave. If you wish, I could restore the ring for you and tell you a story. Yeah, sure. The artifacts that would have been lost left in darkness in the past. These scraps you have brought are from the cloak of sold souls. I cannot see an entire story yet, but I can feel the dark and terrifying. If you should find the rest of the 15 pieces. These are pieces of the Star Commander's glove, a gift from another world, a treasure that fell from the sky to buried in the Marian soil for millennium. Oh, I wish I could visit the homeland of this artifact to learn its whole story. Alas, this is well beyond my powers. 17 pieces. Star Commander glove. Star Commander glove. Okay. Restore the Forest Knight's bracers for me. A noble man once wore these bracers, and he was not the only one to do so. Restoring them would be an honour for my master. I shall impart a remnant of my gift to them to ensure their artifact's story lasts forever. Cannot let it go forbidden. Courage. Luck is a fickle partner. You may think yourself her favourite person while she sits and conspires to trick you. I will impart a remnant of my gift within the ring so you may recall its story. May it caution you against recklessness, or perhaps inspire it. The choice, of course, is yours. Ring of Reckless. That's about a 4 bonus charisma. Oh. Hello. The first time, Nazzrielle arrives in person to deliver her gifts. She's clearly anxious. Your Grace, I once again apologise for the dirty tricks that Sartain pulled. I would like to repay your good graces with a truly magnificent gift. Fortunate it will take time. Meanwhile, please accept this modest present. It isn't spoiled. I checked it 3 times. Sparkling helmet. Okay. Sure. I appreciate the opportunity to make up for my mistakes. I can assure you I never exaggerated my skill when I referred to myself as the best weaponsmith. You'll see it for yourself very soon. Oh, that's the last one. Yeah. Baron Tom, no fear, your time has come. Okay. Great Mother, Ancestress of Monsters, Lamasthu herself has called upon us to track you down and deal with you the way you deserve. Your deeds, which opened new hearts to Lamasthu, didn't go unnoticed. You trembled and stepped back before the image of Great Mother, having left her children unharmed. The goddess graces those who fear her wrath and stays their hand from her potency. Not only did you set the priestess of Lamasthu free, you gave her an esteemed position in your court. Yes, I did, yeah. You rely on her advice and wisdom, a truly magnificent achievement for a venerated servant of the Great Mother. Your mercy for children of Lamasthu and your protection of those who bow before the Great Mother must be rewarded. The goddess herself revealed her will to us through the nightmares. We must give glory to the Baron, who honours the cult of Lamasthu and grants him the blessing of the goddess. Lamasthu is called the Mother of Monsters and Mistress of Insanity for a reason. Her blessing can be far more terrible than any curse. Oh man. I'll just be neutral. Bow before the Great Mother sector. As the somber chanting continues, the darkness gathers around you thick and wet. It sticks to your clothes, your hands, and clots your hair and face. The fluid gathers on your head like a crown, then flows almost molasses-like down your cheeks and your forehead, and seeps into the corner of your eyes, eagerly, hungrily. As it touches your eyes, pain courses through you, and your vision becomes black, then a flickering of greys and whites, like 1,000 tiny insects while making knife cuts across your vision. Stepping back and rubbing your eyes frantically, you open them and realise now you can see in darkness, almost as if they were... Oh, cool. The pain in your eyes subdues, leaving only slightly tingling behind. Oh, I can see at night. Nice. Alright, yeah, I'm happy with that. I can see into the night. I sold it. So, finally, Mim. The girl looks at you with eager impatience. So what about my request? Here is your emerald. Look at that colour and the size, an excellent item. Finally, I'll be able to bring my idea to life. Wonderful. I am ready to be in here and work for your grace. I only need a place to live and work. I brought all the necessary tools, and I need is 4 walls and a roof, and a salary, of course. I do need to eat, but I'll make up for that. My father is a successful watchmaker. His shop supplies the richest family in Bevoy. When I grew up and it was time to teach me, he decided to move from simple to complicated. To start with the shell, then move on to mechanisms. I learned how to make a golden chain, how to cast a perfectly smooth case, how to etch and ornate and encrust it with jewels, and entirely lost interest in springs and gears. How do you make magical items? Father insisted. Once he realised I wasn't going to work with mechanisms, he said I need to have at least some practical skill, and arranged my apprenticeship with the old client, a grumpy old professor of transmutation. I pouted for a long time, but now I'm grateful. That knowledge has actually come in quite useful. Why did you decide to move here? I didn't decide any such thing. I just realised all my hair will go grey of boredom if I spend even one more day in Restall's mud. I explained it to my father, packed my things and struck off over the hills and far away. I stopped here mostly because of the scenery. The Tower of Levanese are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I wish I could climb Talon Peak, but I can't seem to find the time. When I do get a free day, the weather is always bad. No. Is it difficult for a master craftsman from the capital to get used to living in the country? Do you mean getting used to fresh air and clean water? To wearing simple, comfortable clothes every day and forgetting about makeup? What about not having to watch out for stinky horse piles and puddles wherever you step? Oh yes, that's a tough one. Customers, thank you for asking, but your own orders are quite enough for me. I'm an artist, not a craftsman. I don't feel the slightest desire to drudge over tasteless trinkets for the wives of merchants and earthly pleasure seekers. Besides, they wouldn't be able to afford my finest creations. Right. Yes, that took quite a while, folks, because I was like, what? Why? I just can't seem to figure out why it's just can't get anything done. And that was it, folks. Yeah, I forgot to build the bloody an outpost here. Your Grace, I need your opinion. I caught a new recruit brewing dangerous potions for himself and other soldiers. These potions turns into fierce fighters for a while, but they're dangerously twist their minds. Instead of training and drilling, these lazy fools are relying on their potions. Many have already tried, and the others are surely curious. I've arrested the cooks, but the officers are of a different opinion. They believe the potions might be effective, though they're quite unpredictable. Sword Lords taught me to rely on myself and my skills, which we forged by sacrifice and struggle, not by drinking some potion. But you're not Aldori. You have every right to establish your own order. Must I bow to the officer's will, or will you trust me? I like the arcane one, actually. I like the idea of these potions. Let every shoulder drink them if they really help. Whatever they lack in power, they'll make up for in magic. Yeah, I like that. Oh, so you don't trust me, I'm sorry. This is the last words. I've been sent to serve and assist you. I shall do it. You definitely will, mate. Yeah, you will, mate. Remember that. Me. Greetings, Grace. By tradition, as a worthy ruler is patron to a master, the master gives generously in return. I have come to honour this tradition. Please accept this work. Alright, opportunists. Okay. Nope. Put everything aside. Repair your grandfather's armour. Gladly, I've been itching to start, but a craftsman's word is law. No new work until I complete all my current orders. I am not some ordinary fool whose mind is so full of fantasies and fresh ideas that he can't properly finish a single task. Okey-dokey. Back again. Alright. You finished already? I've been working day and night producing orders for your army. One particular item turned out to be too fine to serve a simple soldier. It would be more suitable for you or one of your loyal comrades. Oh, nice. Nice. Crusaders and Mithril full plate. That sounds glorious. Nice hat. I need a moment of your time. I have here someone who is sure to help us turn the city into cultural capital of the River Kingdoms. Dookie. The Asimir bows. A young woman is wearing simple clothes but carries herself with dignity. My greatest respect. My name is Rikri Shravaran, and I am the leader of a small group of enthusiasts who wish to enrich life in the city. I've come to you for two reasons. To tell you about our cause and to ask for your support. A while ago an idea emerged in our ranks. Even though there are many ways to entertain oneself in the capital, there are still not enough cultural events taking place, even as artists are starved for money and audiences. Thus we have decided to form a society for appreciation of fine arts. Each member pays a modest monthly fee and in return gets a vote on which event the society should fund each month. Just imagine, the community will finally be able to recognise the expeditions, performances, philosophical debates, concerts, and do so all on their own. We will inspire our friends and neighbours, but in order to provide an adequate reward for our most distinguished artists, we shall need to attract more members and increase our funds. As we ask for you as little support, any funds you can spare will be most welcome, of course. but we will especially need your help in funding and promoting the society and organising the events. It will require a great effort to make this dream come true. Thank you for your time. Please, if you decide to support us, send us a message through your curator. And whatever your decision, I hope your esteemed advisor will honour us by taking part in the opening ceremony. Sharlan. Alright. Yeah, but the community's already quite high. Okay, yeah, well, you know what, I'll do it. Okay. Support. Every fucking time. And you save it and then it's like, oh, I can't do that because you need this. Blah, 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 blah. Unfazed by the awkward silence, Spoken searches through the bag. Oh, here we go. Acid oil. Thanks, mate. Temple. Your barony requires a diplomat. Relations with our neighbours require special attention. Appoint a new advisor to manage this aspect of your barony. A diplomat. But before you transfer these responsibilities to someone else, I would like to make one suggestion. No country can ignore the interests of its citizens who travel beyond its borders. Our most active trade relations and cultural exchange are in Brevoy. I suggest we arrange with them to build a consulate in their capital. Then all your subjects who visit there can enjoy the support and protection. As I see it, it's a worthwhile investment. Consulate in Brevoy. Okay. Consulate in Brevoy. Okay. I have to serve you. Here we go. So, Como. I received this letter, an official letter from Vizarian, with a trade proposal. It seems the barony has grown large enough to excite curiosity even in odd corners of river kingdoms. Just that, I don't think Rosmarian would make the best ally. Since their self-proclaimed god Rosmare rules there, tyranny has flourished across the country and I think little of their neighbours. They just occupy my lands. They can. If I were you, I would politely decline their trade agreement. Who knows, maybe it's a trick. Although the terms seem profitable. He's a quirky fellow. He took over a kingdom and persuaded all the locals that he's a living god. He's installed his henchmen and key positions. Well, yeah. Maybe we don't like that, reject the proposal. New event, improved diplomacy trade agreement with gold. Oh. Don't know if that's good or bad, I really don't know. Oh, Amiri. Grim, listen, we need to talk, but not in front of everyone. After the council ends, come to the tavern. It's about my tribe. My old one from before. Well, I've got to go to North Thingy to get the thing up there. I've got to go everywhere. So, yeah, okay, so. Your Grace, I come bearing gifts, a sign of my gratitude for taking an old man into your service. With such a weapon, you can go on raids and protect your lands. Everything has been tempered in lamb blood. Proper players and to all the proper gods. Everything is done with care and care of your personnel. Care for you personally.